Asmongold hits the nail on the head about woke journalists. I want these people to suffer because that's what they did to me. What goes around comes around, and we're coming. You should have left my video games alone.
I'll show you. Like, people think I'm fucking crazy. I'm not. Look at this. People wonder our tax.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, what's ironic is something, dude, if you ask me one more time if something is going on with YouTube, I'm just going to end the broadcast. I don't know what the fuck you're asking. Why do you... Philly D right-wing turn? What?
USAID
Why?
has been propping up sites like Politico, giving them media stealing walkthrough. This whole debacle, it started.
I doubt that he's saying he's anti... Wait, what? Yeah, no, you're crazy if you think
Like
that
propping
Philip
up sites
DeFranco is going to do right-wing misinformation on USAID. That's... You're on crack. No, he's baiting you in. That's funny.
Politico, giving them $8 million in taxpayer funds in just one fiscal
Philly D is a massive lib, chatters.
year, meaning the Politico is state-funded media stealing from you, the taxpayer. And the truth, it turns out, is much less sinister. So let's walk through it. This whole debacle, it started when Politico was late with the payroll this week. And that, thanks to what they said, was a technical error that was resolved by the end of the day, so everyone got paid. But then what we saw is that with that, you had posts including screenshots from a government website tracking federal spending showing that Politico received $8 million from the government in the 2024 fiscal year, with former Fox News producer Kyle Becker sharing these screenshots and saying, fun fact, Politico received USAID funds. Receiving
Dude, this is such a funny... I think this is such a funny cope. USAID does pay journalists, okay? Except they pay foreign journalist operations that are tasked with undermining whatever foreign adversary or, you know, sometimes even spreading misinformation about foreign adversaries, okay? They don't need to pay American journalists to do the bidding, okay? They don't. American journalists literally do it because that is the profession. Their job is to literally do State Department propaganda anyway. That's how they do it for free. Well, not for free. They get paid for their jobs, but yes, Voice of America is different than Politico. That's who actually gets paid for it. In case you're out of the loop, people like Asman believe that the government basically smeared Gamergate. What? People think that, like, domestic news producers actually were paid by the government to attack gamers? Like the government was doing Gamergate? I quit. I have to. I can't do this any longer. I think I might be done. I think we have officially reached a level of stupidity that I could not foresee us ever reaching. This is the dumbest, most self-involved, most self-entitled, most self-elevated story of all time. If you truly believe this, if you even entertain this as a thought, okay, you have to be institutionalized for your own safety. This is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. People will learn about like Operation Mockingbird, and then they'll turn around and be like, well, this was still continuing with Gamergate.
Right here.
Asmongold hits the nail on the head about woke journalists. I want these people to suffer because that's what they did to me. What goes around comes around, and we're coming. You should have left my video games alone.
I'll show you. Like, people think I'm fucking crazy. I'm not. Look at this. People wonder our tax.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, what's ironic is something... Dude, if you ask me one more time if something is going on with YouTube, I'm just going to end the broadcast. I don't know what the f you're asking. Why do you keep asking this? Is YouTube being hacked right now? I can't open it. Something going on with YouTube? Is something going on with YouTube? Am I Google? Do I look like Google to you? Why do you keep spamming? Is something going on with YouTube? Look, you are one of my primary news sources other than what I read in my email, so this is just breaking. I'm asking you because I really want background noise while I watch you because I'm mentally ill, like I will not deny. So I'm simply wondering if you know why YouTube is down. If you do not know, that is okay. I will shut up. That's a sincere answer. It's still stupid. Please, I am not Google. What is happening? Chatters will have like a personal issue with their own computer and will come in here and be like, can you please answer my question? Should I turn my computer on and off? Anyway, getting back to the most pressing issue of all time, how Politico actually got paid by the federal government to undermine gamers, which is really funny because the exact opposite actually happened, where someone actually did work with gamers in general and was very closely associated with Donald Trump. His name is Steve Bannon. And he actively used Breitbart to try to drum up Gamergate narratives, knowing full well that it would be very helpful. They'd be willing participants who would be helpful in doing propaganda for the Trump administration if he were to win. This is literally real. So if there's one aspect of the government that has been pro-gamer, it is Steve Bannon and the Trump administration by way of Steve Bannon. Remember that this is the average American IQ before the Department of Education is dismantled. Gamergates being freaks and then being mad at people covering. How could they have done this to me?
People wonder, are tax dollars used to promote wokeness in video games? Answer is yes. USAID paid Politico millions of dollars a year to write pieces like this one, which promotes diversity and describes Gamergate as...
Dude, oh my God. This is just wrong, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's just f***ing wrong. Okay? The worst part about it is that things like what they are suspecting with USAID have occurred in the past in terms of like the State Department aligning itself with media directly, the CIA actively infiltrating American media as well in an effort to manufacture consent. Nowadays, it's more nefarious. Nowadays, there is no direct involvement, especially when it comes to domestic media, okay? Or the direct involvement is out in the open when you have a guy like John Bolton go on, speak on CNN, okay? And say things like, yeah, I've done a lot of coups. In terms of USAID, they paid for a subscription-based service similar to a Bloomberg terminal, okay? Politico Pro. It's real-time. It's a real-time newswire. That's it. They don't. It's worse than what these guys suspect. They don't need to pay Politico to do pro-State Department propaganda, okay? Dude, who is even on your side amongst political streamers? Are you on your own? There's plenty of awesome political content creators and political streamers in general that recognize the truth. Okay. How is he so popular, man? Is it that easy? Yes, it is that easy. Straight up. Claiming that the USAID actually funded Politico to write articles and influence articles, specifically targeting gamers, by the way, okay, is like saying they actually funded Microsoft to also target gamers because they bought Excel. They bought Microsoft Word subscriptions. I can't believe it. How deep does this rabbit hole go? It's ironic, though, because the real way that there is like active glad handling happening with American media when they're covering domestic issues and the American government is done by way of access journalism. There are a million different ways in which the government could also actively fund these outlets as well, whether it be giving them grants or whether it be, buying advertising space if they chose to do so. And they do that sort of stuff anyway. Doing it through USAID would be one of the silliest ways to do it.
As disinformation and harassment campaign. So this is the thing, guys.
Yeah. They covered Gamergate because USAID has a designated task force in between trying to, I don't know, undermine the Cuban government by setting up like a fake internet, okay? Or I don't know, another failed initiative where they try to like task rappers in rapping about how Fidel Castro sucks or whatever, on Cuban soil. They're actually on the weekends spending time attacking gamers. Nobody gives a fuck. In the grand scheme of things, nobody cares about gamers. If you think that there's this level of interest in the government oppressing gamers, you are out of your mind. I don't know what to tell you. I cannot believe that this is like actual commentary on the realm of politics, and it's getting a lot of motion. It's 700,000 views. Yeah. The U.S. government made Stellar Blade's titties smaller. We must investigate. We are the most persecuted minority. I can't believe that we've gotten here. This is reality now.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
That's where we're at now. Like, low key, this is not even something shit that we used to joke about in terms of like, oh no, you came after gamers, is like unironically a rallying call now. Okay? It's no longer a meme. It's reality. People do legitimately believe this. It's crazy. Yeah. Asmongold is the Fred Hampton of Gamergate. Okay? A real threat to the established order is gamers. The American government does not want you to jerk off to big-tittied main characters. Okay? They do not want that. They will do everything to stop that.
These people to suffer. Because that's what they did to me. I want to set an example.
What did they do to Asmongold? Like, what is happening? What have they done to Asmongold? They made his games bad? Oh my God.
Get rid of these people. Put them, like, completely out of their jobs. Get rid of them. Make an example of them. Say, listen, this is what happens. Gamers rise up. What goes around? Yep, what goes around comes.
How did they, someone in the chat said, how do they make you suffer?
Comes around, and we're coming.
4 years of a destruction of my favorite games. Fight fire with fire. Like, this reads as a parody. And if someone had actually sent this to me as a joke, and they were like, look, Asmongold is doing parody of, like, the sweatiest nerd you've ever seen. Isn't this funny? I'd be like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. It's pretty solid in terms of parody. Turns out it's not. This is something truly, this is something that like, you know, lolly PFP accounts unironically believe. I don't know. I really don't understand. Can you explain, please, what's happening? Here, let me uncover the layers of misinformation. Number one, USAID's funding gets cut. The Trump administration rolls back USAID initiatives. Okay, USAID, created by JFK, is a separate department that is tasked with doing aid all around the world. A big chunk of that is to beef up America's soft power capabilities. But also, a big chunk of that is also to engage in covert operations at the behest of the CIA to engage in foreign destabilization against our foreign adversaries. Okay? Which leads me to be confused by Trump's decision overall, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so obviously, the aid for soft power or even to, you know, defend American destabilization in other nations is still actively a good. And you can't have that, okay? According to the Trump administration, you can't do something that helps people, even if it is aiding a larger cause that will end up aligning with American interests, okay? You can't do that. God forbid. Anyway, that's the first start of the story. And as Philip DeFranco also correctly explained here, there was a technical error with Politico paying their staffers. But that kickstarted the story of people claiming, oh, it's because USAID was funding the entirety of Politico. Let's take a look.
Shots from a government website tracking federal spending showing that Politico received $8 million from the government in the 2024 fiscal year. With former Fox News producer Kyle Becker sharing these screenshots and saying, fun fact, Politico received USAID funds, or seemingly claiming that the $8 million came from USAID alone. And then, in a follow-up post, he connected Politico's late payroll with the recent crackdowns on USAID's spending. And from there, the situation just exploded, with big names on the right chiming in and spreading this far and wide. And even had Trump on Truth Social this morning saying that...
Yeah, that's the other aspect of this, that Donald Trump is just straight up saying that this is fact. It's not. I just want to reiterate, this is incorrect. Okay? Which is crazy. I fucking don't like Politico. I'm not the biggest fan of USAID. And here I am having to seemingly defend it because I'm not defending either of these institutions. I'm simply defending the truth. Also, double L stolen. Looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies. Much of it is going to the fake news media as a payoff for creating good stories about the Democrats. The left-wing rag known as Politico seems to have received... By the way, Politico is not a left-wing rag. Politico is not left-wing at all. What is happening here? Asman is currently doing a deep dive into the clip of you showing the Houthi war music to Nick, and Chad is eating it up. Yeah, I don't care, man. Yeah, okay. Great. Yeah, I need to get banned. This guy must get banned. Okay? This guy must get banned. Houthi propaganda, unacceptable. Nazi propaganda, well, that's all right. It's homegrown American Nazi propaganda. Okay? Saying that Politico is a left-wing institution is insane. It's owned by a right-wing German guy. Okay? And not only that, but also, it's just not left-wing at all. Their coverage is not even remotely left-wing at all. It's not the point, and some people won't believe it, but Biden, White House hated Politico. When I worked there, the Biden team constantly complained that Politico embodied the problem with journalism today. Too insidery, too focused on horse race coverage scandal, and too both-sidism. They're not. Also, I'm not even... This is ironic because the Biden White House was actively and aggressively anti-media for no reason whatsoever. Okay? But he didn't want to cover the Epstein stuff. Oh yeah, Asmongold didn't want to cover the sex pestiny stuff, but he has no problem rehashing the same fucking shit over and over again. Hasan showed Nick a music video of the Houthis. I wonder why. And sex pestiny goes after Asmongold all the time, and I think it's partially because he's afraid. He's afraid of the Diddy G wrath. He does not want Diddy G coming after him. Anyway, hey, I'm sorry. Can you explain what any of this has to do with gamers, Gamergate, or Asmon? It literally doesn't. The truth has nothing to do with gamers, Gamergate, or Asmongold. But the truth does not matter, okay? That's the point. Because Asmongold is claiming that on top of this misinformation that came out, that he wanted to add his own layer of silliness to the conversation by, I guess, reading a tweet from a Lolly account, a Lolly PFP account, that claimed that Politico was actually getting paid by USAID to do anti-gamer coverage. It's probably the most ridiculous thing that could have come out of this. It's so ridiculous. I feel like even the Fox News people would laugh at this shit. You spending all 2025 on media literacy of your colleagues? What do you want me to do, man? What do you want me to do? One, you guys sent me this link. And two, Asmongold is currently the biggest political content creator on this platform. Okay.
Billions have been stolen from federal agencies like USAID and gone to, quote, fake news media as a payroll for creating good stories about the Democrats, and then adding, this could be the biggest scandal of them all. Perhaps
also, it still stems from misinformation coming from the fucking president. So it's not like Asmongold is just like making shit up on his own. Okay. He's adding on to the pre-existing fake bullshit that's running around.
Biggest in history. But then, with all this, there's been a whole lot of pushback against this narrative. With, for example, the Washington Post pointing out that if you look deeper into the government spending website, you'll see that USAID gave Politico only $44,000 during the fiscal years of 2023 and 2024. Right, and that was reportedly for subscriptions to an energy and environment publication that the company produces. And then, that $8 million, right, the amount the entire government spent on Politico last year, most of that reportedly came from contracts from subscriptions to their premium services. In fact, you had the Post reporting that just days ago, the White House's Office of the National Cyber Director signed a $35,000 contract for a Politico Pro premium subscription for 15 users. Or with that service, tracking, analyzing, and providing updates on the entire public policy landscape. I mean, for example, the Post reports that committees led by Republicans dropped $500,000 on Politico subscriptions in the first 9 months of last year, with 38 Republicans in the House reportedly spending $300,000 for subscriptions within the same time period. But follow to stay in the loop.
Yeah, that's it. USAID is not funding Politico. Politico does pro-State Department propaganda because that's what the American media is tasked with doing. They don't need to get paid directly by the government. They don't need to be incentivized in that way. The incentive structure nowadays is simply elevating people who already get that level of access. The incentive structure revolves around access. They play ball with the government and beef up government narratives and rarely ever undermine the established hierarchy, because those are the people that get elevated to the top. Okay? They are stenographers. But in terms of like the USAID paying for a political subscription, Politico Pro subscription, that makes sense. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Use your position as someone with money to do on-the-ground journalism. You could be the only person live streaming the barricade of the Department of Education, but you're home. Do you have a teleportation? Do you have a teleportation device? Do you understand that news teams have thousands of people that they employ so they can be everywhere all at once to do on-the-ground reporting? I'm a commentator. That's why I say I'm not a journalist. Sometimes I do engage in journalism, okay, do some original reporting. But if you think I would be capable of flying to every single event before it even happens, you fundamentally misunderstand how travel works or how logistics work. Your haters are the dumbest people alive. I know. This is not my issue. I don't think you understand how any of this stuff works. Yeah. Let me just hop on a plane. And instead of doing news commentary and informing the public on what's going on as to the best of my ability, I should be flying around the country every single day, nonstop. It's pretty funny because, like, you also want me to be at the barricade of the Department of Education, which is probably one of the most low. It's literally one of the dumbest fucking stories to actually fly anywhere to do. There's ice raids happening. You could have said you could fly to Colorado and try to report on the ice raids, but instead you were like, why don't you go to the barricade of the Department of Education, which basically shows the limits to your processing power to begin with. Is USAID something that was exclusively used by the Democrats? No, of course not. What? No, obviously not. No, it is just like everything else with foreign interference or foreign policy is uniparty. It's bipartisan. Something tells me something tells me they weren't saying that in good faith. I know, but it doesn't matter because that person actually succeeded. Because there's always, and this is a consistent thing that's always occurred in this community especially, which is a chatter with no genuine intention whatsoever says some of the dumbest things that anyone has ever said, okay? And launches it as though it's constructive criticism, and a long-term community member will immediately defend it and be like, nah, that's actually sick. Why don't you do that?